Welcome to the Embrace the Face podcast, where we celebrate all things weird and wonderful. I'm Allie Anderson, your host, here to bring you high vibe content and interviews for your highest good in self-healing and ascension. May these episodes bring you all you need in each now, and I thank you for listening, as always. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Embrace the Face. Today, we are honoring and celebrating lunar ceremonies, the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. We're also going to talk about the Chinese New Year. We're going to talk about Saturn re-entering Aries and what this all means for your self-healing and ascension. And as a triple Aquarius, I am so honored and excited to introduce this new moon, which is not your typical new moon. This new moon really is not about renewing. It's more so about resetting, reframing. You can completely reinvent yourself. You can re-innovate everything about you if you'd like. Who and what is your true embodied nature and soul essence that you are ready to connect with if you haven't already? Stepping into that highest timeline, that quantum embodiment. And if you've followed along long enough and you listen in, I do a lot of that somatic quantum embodiment where we literally visualize and imagine ourselves in our highest timeline, and we're able to step into that and live that, and that is living our truth, our soul's truth. Aquarian energy is so eclectic and out of the box and multidimensional and futuristic and rebellious and does not conform to societal norms, and that is okay. So this Aquarian energy is teaching us, it's showing us that it is okay to be you. Just embrace who you are, embrace the face, right? And this being the beginning of an 18-month season, eclipse season. So you are going to see that shadow side come into play a lot and a little bit of tumultuosity. And I can tell you right now, I tell you guys all the time, I channel all my episodes. And today, this is literally like my sixth take. I have no idea what's going on with the internet or if Spirits is just not, Spirit's giving me a hard time to channel through today's episode for you. And that's okay. Like, technology is a little crazy right now, and the eclipse can show those shadow sides, and remaining resilient and in flow, like, I'm just still going with it. So I'm here always to bring you guys the high vibes, and I'm never going to give up. And I've been talking about that a lot. Actually, I talked about that on my episode the other day. I talked about that on social media a lot. The most important thing is that we never give up, that we are always here to evolve. And Aquarius is, is about that air energy, that thinking, that ability to be multidimensional and magical and unique, and to just embrace all of that in each and every now. As we move into Saturn going into Aries, Saturn re-entered Aries. So it's interesting because Saturn, in modern astrology, Uranus rules Aquarius. That's the rebellion, the disruptor, the one that, brings all the chaos and doesn't really give a fuck what anybody else says and is just going to do what they want to do. Ancient astrology is interesting because Saturn was designated as the ruler of Aquarius. Saturn is the home planet of being disciplined and structure. And I kind of like to think of it, I don't know why, as the stick up the ass kind of, like, very, like, kind of rigid. And I mean, we could all use that, a little kick in the butt once in a while, especially as a triple Aquarius. I'm one that just kind of flows. I don't really have like rigid routine and schedules. I get everything I need to get done in that allotted quote unquote time frame, but there's no like true structure around that. So Saturn being in Aries right now is very confused, is kind of being held back, and there's a lot of like banter back and forth. Aries is that need for speed, go-getter energy, and not afraid to fight and not afraid to really just go ahead and live out those dreams, right? So you have the Saturn, the disciplinarian, being totally just like given a whirlwind again as it re-entered Aries. So we are seeing a lot of this back and forth energy. And what's interesting is, I know that there's a lot of astrologers. I've had this book. So the only astrology book you'll ever need. So this is like always my go-to. And I am not an astrologer by any means, but I do live my life via the phases of Luna. And I feel very called to astrology. And I've just over the years have really tapped into what it means to live via the stars and the sky. So Saturn in Aries, this book does say, and this kind of, I could, go ahead and tell you what intuitively everything about it, but this really just kind of gives like and I'm not afraid to say, like, I'm sitting here reading from a book to tell you guys, like, this is the legit source saying Saturn in Aries. So Saturn brings delay to Aries, the sign of initiative and the result in confusion. If you are a Saturn Arian, you can, if this is in your natal chart, guys, you might also want to check your natal chart and see where is your Saturn. But in general, when Saturn is in Aries, this is kind of the overall message that you can be strong and powerful one minute and irresolute and wavering the next. This position is not an easy one, for you must continually fight against obstacles placed in your way. Many of you achieve success, but not without disappointment and setback. Saturn in Aries makes you ambitious and determined and promotes your power to control other people. On the negative side, Saturn Arians can be stubborn, dictatorial, and sometimes solitary and grumpy. In general, your hardest times come early in life. It is then that you develop the strength of character that serves you well in later years. As you grow older, each year brings less struggle and more success. And this was an interesting fun fact that I figured I'd share. Natives of this Saturn position, meaning if this is actually like in your natal chart, if you have Saturn in Aries, that they tend to suffer from headaches and dental problems. So I figured I would share that tidbit of information. And I read that, so every lunar ceremony, I go into this book, I read all my information, and I study because I want to like bring you guys the most credible information, not just from like cosmopolitan.com. Like I want to give you the source. And between my intuition and evidence-based, these resources, they're all generally, they're giving the message of Saturn being in Aries right now. Like, it's not you. Like this time, it's not you. It's them. It's, that breakup line of it's not you, it's me. Like, no, it is 100% Saturn being in Aries that is causing this total like. So you have on one hand this total back and forth, polar opposites. The law of polarity, the laws of the universe always talks about where there is darkness, there is light. So we have this aspect of perhaps like inner conflict of what you want to do with your life. And Aries wants to, keep going, forging forward, has that need for that speed. So wants to keep going, but Saturn and doesn't care, like doesn't care that Saturn's like, hey, we need to be disciplined and structured about this. And then you're also seeing in the world, you're seeing the blazing fire of Aries and that anger, and just Aquarius has that rebellious energy. So we're in Aquarius season, and the new moon in Aquarius being in the next few days. So today is Friday the 13th. And the new moon is the 16th at 7:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we still have a few days before we get into it, but we're still in Aquarius season. So all of these energies, this is why we are seeing what we're seeing in the world, in our country. This is the rebellious, the destruction, the falling away. The gurus are no longer people to idolize and praise. We're seeing inhumane human behavior, questioning morality of humanity. And Aquarius wants to save that. Aquarius is the humanitarian. So we have all this upheaval and this potential destruction. But where there is darkness, there is light. So there is this positive aspect to Aries of that go-getter energy. There is this positive aspect of the Aquarian energy of that innovator, thinking outside the box, people coming and presenting ideas that have never been brought forth before and just doing it in their own unique way. Like, stay in your lane, right? Kind of thing. Like, stay in your energy. Don't confuse your energy with other people's energy. Stay in your lane, stay out of the head and in the heart, and follow your truth, live your truth. And you can do that like through neuroplasticity. You can do that through quantum embodiment. You can do that through meditation. You can do that through literally just exercising your brain and just constantly reminding yourself. You catch yourself in your head because the Aquarius air energy, you catch yourself in your thoughts. No. Take a moment, take that sacred pause, take 3 deep breaths. And if you can't take 3 deep breaths, then you got to dig even deeper. Why can't you take 3 deep breaths? Because your nervous system is completely frozen. So you want to be able to recognize these things. How can the Aquarian, albeit, in the air and in the mind, how can you still remain grounded being in your body? And that is something that I'm always talking about as innovative and air driven as Aquarius energy can be. It is so important to remain grounded. So much so I've literally made it my life's work, and it's my front video, my grounded, connected, protected video on my YouTube channel. If you haven't checked that out, please do and subscribe. And I guide you through just a quick grounding twice a day for even just a week will bring drastic change to your life. It'll bring you out of your head, into your body, into your heart. And I'm always telling people, if you try it, please let me know, because it changed my life. So when I tell other people how to do these things to bring positive improvement into their life, I love to hear that it's working. So please do let me know if you try. So, okay, as far as the energy of the Saturn going into Aries, it's about those onion layers that I'm always talking about, right? And with the eclipse, we have the shadows coming through. So what are you ready to let go of? What are you no longer going to bring with you? What are you going to, because Saturn is in Aries, Saturn's still there. Saturn hasn't been completely shut down and isn't like sleeping and not activated because it's in Aries. Saturn is still there reminding you that you do need to take responsibility for your life. And as much as I say, like, I'm like la type B, C, and I'm not very type A, like, to not have that structure, rigidity, and I guess that more masculine energy about me. Saturn is there to remind us, especially me, to like, you still have to take responsibility. You still have to complete your tasks. You still have to get what needs to be done. But how can you do it in a way that in your core, in your heart of hearts, is your soul's mission? That you are aligned with that frequency, and that you are headed to where you need to go, that you are just trusting and having faith. And while that is that flow, right? That feminine flow energy, we do need in our 3D reality to become successful and to see that return on investment. We do have to get things done in this 3D life, whether it's, doing things like this, sitting down and recording and preparing and editing and publishing, or doing an email, or your website, or your offerings, or your channel, whatever, if you're making your products, we have to do the physical, laborious task. And I recently was reading, actually, it was interesting. I don't even remember where I saw it. I'm trying to think, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. It was about how if you don't have any structure at all, and you're only working out of that forced energy, that destructive energy. So on the Hawkins scale, destructive energy is that lower vibrational frequency energy. And when we are working from that forced destructive energy out of either lack or fear of failure, that comparison energy, that egoic energy, or that shame energy, that is just going to continue to like recirculate, right? So we want to be able to work from a state of flow, from positive creativity, because when we're working from those destructive states, we may not get that. We may not. Odds are the energy exchange of that is not going to get you back what you are looking for. Perhaps you're looking for money. Perhaps you're looking for inner peace. What are you looking for? What is your definition of success? What is the definition, your moral values, essentially, that are being brought up in this very current collective now, in what you want for the rest of your life in this lifetime? And this is not a time, especially because of eclipse season, this is not a time to take drastic measures. This is not a time to make complete life-altering decisions. What this is a quote-unquote time to make those small incremental changes in your life to literally embody that highest timeline, to get you where you have been visioning yourself going all this time. If that makes sense. I hope that does. This can be anything, really. This can be anything from your day-to-day structure, your day-to-day routine. This can be your physical, mental, and emotional health. This can be about really just about any way that you live your life and you care for yourself, that self-care, self-love, and just the moment to moment, and not even day to day, the moment to moment. How are you living your life? Do you have structure? Do you have a good balance? Are you working in destructive energy or in creative flow energy? How does your body feel when you feel about the tasks that you have to undertake? Where do you feel that in your body? What does that feel like? What does it look like? What is the texture, the color, does it have a sound? And letting that flow, just letting that energy flow through you, and just know that those are just it's just energy, letting it flow. That overwhelm, letting it flow through you so that the creative energy can come through, and that you're working from that state of oneness, that state that, because you are the creator, right? This is such the most cliche quote, and I've probably said it so many times. So if you listen to all my episodes, you're probably like, yes, Allie, we know everything in the universe is within you, per Rumi. So just remembering that, you are the creator. I've been having this conversation with my husband for literally the latter 24 hours, because he came home and decided, often he's like, I kind of want to sell the business and do something else. And I said, now is not the time. You can think about it, but I'm always supporting him, and you always want to support the ones you love, right? But when your heart of hearts just knows, just not right now, not let this energetic time pass, and we'll go back to it. Really think on it and meditate and pray on it. And what do you envision for yourself? I guide my husband and my kids into their Akashic records a lot. And so that's something that you can do also, is to guide yourself or have someone guide you into your records, so that you can ask your spirit team and your guides and your angels and ascended masters, or those interdimensional beings of the highest light. You can ask them, what am I meant to be doing in this now? Because winter, and this is a totally different subject. I didn't even plan on talking about this, but it's segueing into it. So hold on tight, guys. You're going to get a lot of insights here, and it'll be a longer episode than usual, probably. So, but I'm having fun with this. So, okay. I hope you're having fun listening. So I also need to stop saying so. I say that word so many times. I just said it now. And in my editing, I notice it also. Just said it. Apologies. It is something that I am working on. In shamanism, this is very interesting, and I also love shamanism and indigenous studies and cultures and medicine and rituals and practices. Spirit of the North is home to the winter. This is a time where we are supposed to slow down and rest, literally just hibernate and rest and sleep. And when we are awake, of course, we have to be productive, but doing it the slowest way possible. And when I'm not saying to be a sloth or a snail, but I'm saying to do it in such a soft, easy way, one that is in flow and in alignment with the nervous system, one that does not feel pressured, because there's really no need to be hustling and bustling and to put pressure on yourself during the winter months, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere and you're in the colder, darker weather. And it's a time to not be hard on yourself. And I think a lot of us in especially Western modern society, we've been trained and programmed to just constantly be on the go. And unfortunately, to have our nervous systems in this perpetual states of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So we find ourselves in these energies right now of the Aquarius energy, that innovative and exciting ideas. And you want to bring forth these new creative endeavors or channeled thoughts and ideas. And then you have Aries and that fire energy and that gung-ho, you want to get it done. And you have Saturn that's trying to help out to keep you disciplined. And really what it's about is, if it feels right in that now, then go for it. but don't put that added pressure on yourself. Like, there was no reason to be celebrating the new year in the dead of winter, right? Like, the last few years, I keep thinking about that. And my work has changed in that regard, like with my clients, and my life has changed. My personal life has changed. So as we segue into the Chinese New Year of the fire horse, the year of the go-getter energy, like Aries, that trailblazing energy, that no fear, no fucks given, I'm going to get this done, highest timeline version of you. As we shed these last few days, those onion layers, those layers of the snake. So it's a good time because it's a time to sit with yourself, and it's a time to slow down, and it's a time to literally, like I said, reset. And all of these energies are interplaying into each other, and the fire horse has that yang energy. So that light, the that everything is gonna be okay. It's not the yin, the dark, the negative, it's the yang. And it's the energy that is going to bring us into transcendence and peace. And it may seem quite destructive, scary, fearful at times, but all is as it should be in this now. And if we come together in true Aquarius fashion to really tap into that humanitarian, innovative, technological, for the highest good energy, then we can, I'm getting the words, intuitively upgrade, level up, right? We can energetically upgrade as a collective to be in more of a state of harmony and peace. And it still always fascinates me. And again, I've talked about this before and was talking about it the other day with my husband, that Einstein, in his letters and compilations, as in the world as I see it, his book, he talks about a one world government. And how would that work? What do you guys think? I'm curious. You can leave your thoughts in the comments. There's so many things, there's so many changes that could happen. And for some reason, that is something that I keep coming back to, that one world government. I don't know if it's like just that idealistic, the idea of it, or if it truly is, I'm seeing intuitively, feeling intuitively that the destruction is going to get so much worse politically and all around the world, globally. And at some point, as humanity rises, because with this energy also, there's so many people who are suddenly just waking up, like a slap in the face. What have I been doing with my life? This really is literally a time in this now where a lot of people who used to laugh at the things that I do, the way that I am, are now living that truth. And it is nice to see. And it's interesting because with the eclipse season and just, the energy of shedding those final layers and stepping into this, resetting my energy into my highest timeline, noticing my own ego side. And somebody had posted online that they too were doing this practice and noticing, and they noted that they notice that they judge people, like their own ego judges others for not being as healed or not on the healing journey, that they're like not taking their healing as serious as they are. And I noticed that it's not, I mean, obviously it's the ego and that state of judgment, but ultimately it's like, what is that teaching? That's teaching that not everybody is where you're at. Not everybody is on your timeline. Not everybody is going to understand quantum, metaphysical, ancient, and somatic healing techniques. Not everybody is going to be ready, but this is kind of the collective energies where it's like, no, this is the quote unquote time. Like, you need to figure out what works for you, what metaphysical or ancient or somatic or what woo-woo thing that you haven't tried yet, what may work for you. What spiritual ideology do you resonate with? What avenue of healing do you resonate with? What cultures do you resonate with? What visions, like visionaries, like other humanitarians of history or other people in this modern now, humanitarian wise, like what do you wish to embody to live this version, this highest self version of you? So I hope that makes sense. Again, this is all just kind of like coming through, and I'm trying to get everything into one. But do you see how all of these energies kind of interplay with each other and work around each other? And there's the idea of the collective, and then there's the idea of the you, the micro in the macro. And we have to remember that although we are each here to fulfill a mission, we also are a collective. And if you are somebody who is on point in living a life in flow and you are healing or healed, I think we're always healing. I don't think we're ever like perfectly healed. Well, I mean, miraculous, quantum, we are pristine and our cells, and we can constantly be rejuvenating ourselves and bringing them back to their perfect healthy state, of course. But as far as like learning and soul growth and evolution, that never ends. And I feel like when people start to recognize that when they are in states of despair, that perhaps it's not just you. Perhaps you can separate yourself from that, and you can look at those astrology or the collective energies. You can look at the Schumann resonance. You can look at where we are in Luna's phases, which is moonology. You can look within, and you can ask, is this really me, or is this collectively? And these are things that you can do when you are embodied in your spiritual awakening, when you are self-aware of your thoughts and your shadows or triggers or things that are coming through. How can you look at these things as avenues for improvement for your highest good versus just continuously staying in these loopholes, these destructive energetic loopholes, and never pulling yourself out? And that's pretty much what the individual soul energy is about right now and what the collective soul energy is about right now. At least that's what I get intuitively, is how much longer can it go on like this? How much longer can we loop around on this hamster wheel of self-sabotage and destruction, whether it's globally or individually? How can we transform that? How can we reset that? Not the clock, because the clock doesn't fucking matter, because there's no such thing as time. But how can we reset it in this now? How can we as a humanity reset those energies to bring harmony and homeostasis? Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? I'm trying to think. I think that's kind of it. I thought this was going to be like a crazy long episode. Oh, you know what? I wanted to pull, thank you for being here with me as I ramble and try to get my shit together. But as always, I wanted to share Moonology cards. And today has just been, I think I said this in the beginning of the show. If I did, I apologize. But between the eclipse, and that's what I'm blaming it on, obviously. This is like literally my 6th or 7th take having to record this episode. And right before the episode, I was getting ready and like lighting my candles. And I don't know if you're watching and you can like see the video. I always light my throat chakra candle before I do my throat chakra exercise. And then I light my throat chakra candle. And I always say, please, God, guardian angels, the love and light, please help to channel through me the highest vibrational healing frequencies for humanity. And then I, get my stuff together and I start recording. But today, Spirit gave me a little bit of a challenge and I was up for it. See, being resilient and in flow. And that's what it's all about. And as I was getting my Moonology cards, I always like pick one card, and literally 5 flew out. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go with it. And we're going to look at these cards and we're going to discuss them real quick. So the first card, this is what's coming through for the highest good of you. New moon in Scorpio. Go deeper. I'm not going to spend much time on each card. So Scorpio is water. Go deeper. Your emotions. What are your dreams telling you? Take a look at your dreams. Okay. Record your dreams. If you don't have my 2026 astrological planner and journal, get it out or get one, because you can record your dreams every single day. And it is your subconscious talking to you. This is the last quarter moon in Aquarius. just reflect on your priorities. So this is kind of Saturn talking to us, right? That last quarter moon is that moon that we are winding down, weighting down. We are really closing out projects. And that could be the close of this era, this energetic era, as we close out the year of the snake and go into the year of the fire horse. So what are your priorities? What is Saturn calling you to make a priority in your life? The next one is first quarter moon in Aquarius. We have so much Aquarius. I love it. First quarter moon in Aquarius, trust the universe. Trust is overall the main message of today, I feel. Just trust. Trust that if you are doing every single moment of every single day, the things that you know are in alignment with your highest timeline, you are heart-centered, you are grounded, connected, protected, and you are trusting in God's source universe to just show you the way, to take you there, to bring you there, to figure it out. You are just surrendering. That surrender is such a deep practice, and it is something that we often have to remind ourselves of. So trust the universe. It is for you, not against you, always. Okay, this is the second to last card. Last quarter moon in Sagittarius. Practice gratitude. So gratitude, so important also in my astrological planner and journal. It is evidence-based. When you literally write down 3 to 5 things a day that you're grateful for, within a month, you are literally living in gratitude. Your brain, you wake up in a state of gratitude. It is that neuroplasticity. Our brains are rewired, and it's a beautiful way to live in gratitude. And that is how things come to you for the highest good. When you live in gratitude, that heart-centered gratitude, and you're not taking things for granted, and you are recognizing what truly is important. And that can literally be like going outside and feeling the sunshine or hearing a bird chirp, right? There's that gratitude for being able to breathe today and to walk outside with your legs. Like, that's gratitude. Last quarter moon in Gemini, clear your mind, another air sign. So clearing your mind, that last quarter moon, that's where we're at right now. Clear your minds. Get out of the head, into the heart. Where do you see yourself going? Where do you see humanity going? And how can we get there? Always for the highest good. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here for this very special episode for the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, as well as the Chinese New Year. I am sending you all so many blessings, Reiki, love, and light in this now. Alam makasiyan, nakapatiya, kamanakatatatiya, sa lakapatatiya, kamanakatatatiya, makatapatiya, kamanakasiyaka. Halapatiya, samanakatatata, samanakaya. Thank you for being here. Tune in next time. Peace out and God bless.